friends. Today I'm going to do a cooking vlog. So I'm going to show you one of my recipes, sambar, the South Indian style of sambar. This is what I prepare almost every week. It goes well with idlis, dosas, rice. And if you're looking out for those recipes, do check my channel. I have uploaded those stuff as well. So this is my version of it, how I could incorporate more vegetables and still make it, try to make it how my kids like it. So okay, let me start by showing you what ingredients are needed. Okay, so for the sambar, what I have taken is called as a tuar dal. You get this in all the Indian stores or Asian stores. I will put the name also, the description. So if you see that, I always use this dal for sambar because I feel this is what gives a very unique taste and a unique flavor. There are other varieties of sambar for which they use the yellow moong dal or the split dal. But I personally just love this and I never skip this and I always have a good stock at home. Now I have also soaked this for around 20 minutes in water. You don't need to do this. The soaking is optional, but I feel that it makes the thing more easily digestible. That way it is lighter on the, especially if you have like older folks at home or kids, it makes it a little more digestible. That's what I do this. Now I'm going to take this. I'm just going to boil this separately using my instant pot, or you can use a pressure cooker. So, and then we'll use it in the sambar. Okay, let me start by showing you the ingredients that we are going to use for the seasoning. So here I have curry leaves. These are called the curry leaves. Again, all of this must be easily available in the Indian store or something like Ranch 99 market. So I have a little garlic. I just use some frozen one here. Again, it's optional. If you want, you can skip it. And I have a little chopped cilantro here. We are going to use this towards the end for the, just for the seasoning. And then I have mustard seeds. Then I have the fenugreek seeds, and I've used a little bit of turmeric, what is called as haldi, and a little bit of cumin powder. So both of them are very good for health, so I've added that. Then these are the vegetables. Now the main difference between a sambar and a dal would probably be that these are loaded with both protein which comes from the dal and the all the good fiber which comes from the vegetables. So what I have used here is some tomatoes, drumsticks. So again, I'm a Tamil, so South Indian Tamil. So you know that drumsticks is a very when I was growing up, I ate a lot of drumsticks. So I can just not imagine a sambar without drumsticks. But yeah, if it is hard to find where you live, you can completely skip those. This is the white pumpkin. So I have cut it. I've removed the skin. I have cut it into cubes. This again another very good high fibered vegetable. Carrots. But and of course tomatoes. You don't need to restrict yourselves. If you have lesser than that, just use what you have. If you don't have any veggies, it's still fine. So one thing, if you might have noticed, I generally don't use onions in sambar because I keep my sambar over a couple of days, maybe 3 to 4 days. So I feel that onion somehow it doesn't taste after good after some time. So I try to skip it, but it's completely fine. And in fact, it's very tasty if you use onions or even, the shallots, it's very good. So yeah, if you have more vegetable, you could add like beans, you can add pumpkin, you can add so many. I mean, the choices are endless. So you can add a lot of vegetables and customize based on what you have that day. So also a good way of, getting rid of all your leftover vegetables when you're trying to clean out your fridge. Now, this is the dal that I had showed earlier. So I've put a little oil. I have, put it in the instant pot for around 5 to 6 minutes of, the regular manual pressure. If you're using a pressure cooker, just one whistle is enough. See that, how nicely it has, cooked. Also, the pre-soaking really helps here. It cuts the boiling time. And we're going to anyway recook this a little more in our sambar. So it's okay even if this is not done. So a quick cooking here would do. So this is the other thing. And then the other thing is that I've soaked a little tamarind. So this is the tamarind. I've soaked a little tamarind in some warm water so that it nicely loosens out. And we are going to extract, the juice out of it or the pulp out of it. We're going to remove all the seeds and the skin and other things. We're going to do that. So we're going to keep this just prepped here. And again, there are a few things I'm using here. Again, this is not a paid promotion or anything. This is what works for me very well. I prefer to use the sesame oil. You can use any brand. I'm going to use this to make the sambar. I do feel it gives a very unique flavor, but it's okay to use whatever oil that you're used to using. And I use this. I like this Achi sambar powder. One, because it gives a very good flavor. Second, its spice level is very, it's mild to medium. It's somehow worked out for me very well. But yeah, feel free to, use your own sambar powder, what you use, or a homemade, or anything which just works for you. Okay, now let's just get started with the sambar. Okay, we are going to do a little bit of a pre-prep over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the cumin powder that we had earlier, putting it in the dal. I'm going to put some turmeric. So I'm going to put a little sugar. I mean, this, I don't know if it looks a lot in the camera, but it's actually very little. I believe this always, pops the flavors. A little sugar and always the savory stuff really does a lot of wonders. And salt. So we did not use salt earlier. So you can adjust the salt according to your requirements, probably add a little more or you could reduce it. And then we are going to also add the sambar powder. Okay, now I have taken a vessel over here. I have added the oil that I told about earlier, and just again use whatever works with you. So we're going to let this, the oil boil to a certain temperature. Just let it heat a little, because if you just put it in too fast, then the mustard is not going to crackle. So we just need to, that to happen nicely. So let us just bring this to heat. Okay, now that our oil is ready, so let us add the mustard. Let it simmer a little bit and come to a nice temper. We need that to it to crackle, so we're going to let it crackle a bit. I actually made the stove a little less hot because I'd simmed it up because it was getting very hot. Okay, I'm going to put the fenugreek here. I'm going to add the garlic and the curry leaves. Now all of this is on a sim, means a lower setting. You don't want anything to burn. Okay. So if you see, it is not it shouldn't burn, but it should be slightly golden brown color, everything that I put. So that brings the flavor. And you want to do this a little patiently, because I've burnt it many times. I don't want you to do it. Now I'm going to go and add all the vegetables that we had. We added the pied pumpkin, the drumsticks, the carrots, and I'm going to save the tomatoes for the end. Let's give this a nice stir. Probably saute it for just around 30 seconds. Just to make sure the oil is nicely coated every part of the vegetable. I've actually made a little extra than usual, so because I'm going to actually freeze a little more to use it at a later time. So this is a little more than what I normally do. But yeah, if I was using it in the normal, I would use a little lesser portion, and this probably lasts for me for around 3 to 4 days. So once I'm done that, I'm going to put hot water. So I have preheated some water in a kettle. You can use normal water. It's just that it's going to take a little extra time. Just few tips to make it faster. So if you see here, I've added enough water. So this, cooks. Don't put too much, otherwise your sambar will be very watery. Or don't put too little, otherwise, you'll have to like really babysit this, and we don't want to be doing that. So I've put around, enough for it to cover roughly, I think, 3 cups maybe. I'm going to put this back into a medium flame, and I'm going to cover it, leaving a little bit of the gap so that any steam can just escape. And we're going to come back and see this probably after another 10, maybe roughly 10 minutes. Okay, now we roughly spent around 10 minutes. So I'm quickly going to check. Most of the vegetables have cooked here. So the drumsticks normally take a little extra time, but yeah, they have, even this has been cooked well. So what we're going to do is that the mixture that we prepared earlier of the dal, the sambar powder, cumin, turmeric, salt, sugar, we're just going to put that all in. Right? Put that all in. So this has everything. At this stage our sambar is almost done, say 80%. But we do need this to come, for everything to bind very well. We need this to come to a small boil. And at this stage, I'm also going to add the tomatoes. You can add tomatoes in the beginning, there's no harm, but then it's just that, they kind of lose their texture, they become more mushy, and I kind of don't like it. So I like it, to get these chunks of it. So now we're going to cook this just around, say, 2 minutes. It's not going to take a lot of time, just let's give it 2 minutes. Okay, now we have boiled it for almost 2 minutes. Now all the powders, the raw smell of the powders would have gone in by now. Now this is the tamarind that I had, earlier soaked it. I have taken out the extract. It looks like a little more, but it's not really, it's just mostly water. And do not skip this step if you're making a sambar, because it really gives a very good color and it really enhances the taste. So what we are going to do is that the process is almost done. Once you put the tamarind, always tamarind is put in the very end, because you're not supposed to put it in the beginning. It may turn and will turn bitter. So you put it towards the end, just for around a minute. You're not going to boil this anymore. You just maybe maximum 1 minute. And then we are going to put our cilantro that we had cut earlier and just season it. Yeah, so that is pretty much what you need to do to make a nice sambar. Hopefully you will try to make this, and please do let me know your feedback, and also do let me know what kind of recipes you'd like me to make or like you to show. Thank you.